Hello, everyone. It's good to see you again. I've been away, and it's good to be back. I'd like to take up where we left off. Remember, we're still in the book of Job. We're studying Job, and the last time I was with you, we stopped with Eliphaz speaking his pitch to Job. And let me just sort of recap all this. It's kind of interesting. This has been going on for a very long time. Of these three friends came and sat with Job for 7 days and didn't say a word. They just sat there and, in effect, saying, "We're with you, Job. We're with you, Job. We're your friends. We've come to be with you." And then they started talking, as you know, and they started speaking, and they started kind of bickering back and forth. "Job, you must have done something really bad to have God to do this to you." And they all know I'm doing just the right thing. I don't know why this is happening. The other one says, "Job, you've got to be doing something bad, and you're probably lucky this is all he's doing to you." And he said, "No, I've not done anything wrong." "Well, nobody's righteous, Job. We know you." It goes on and on and on. And so we're getting to the third round now. We're coming into the third round, and Eliphaz is not giving up on that. So, like I'm saying back to you, is Eliphaz says you need to submit to God. You've been doing something awful wrong. And Job is saying, "I didn't do it. I am a righteous man." He says, in the last time we spoke, he says, "What he wants to do to me, he does." Job speaking about God. "So he will do to me whatever he has planned. He controls my destiny. No wonder I'm so terrified in his presence. When I think of it, terror grips me. The Almighty terrifies me." Now, I would like to take a little bit of a step back here. And, one of my favorite verses, which I've used a lot, is in Exodus 14:14. And it leads up to it. It goes, Exodus 14:14 says, "The Lord himself will fight for you. You just stay calm." And I try to live by that. But it leads up, it says, "Don't be afraid. Just stand still and watch the Lord rescue you today. He'll fight for you. You just stay calm." And those are what I don't think Job ever read Exodus, but I think Job is practicing what that says. I'm going to stay calm. I'm not going to change my mind. I'm not going to curse the Lord. And I'm going to withstand this because the Lord is with me. He says, "If the Lord is with me, who can be against me?" So Job is standing there, and he's standing upright and says, "I didn't do it." So he makes one more response there. He says, "Why doesn't the Almighty bring wicked people judgment?" So he's kind of, Job is getting a little upset with all of this, and he's looking at the wicked, and he's saying, "Why? Why do evil people steal land, and they steal livestock, and they steal the orphan's donkey, and they take the widow's ox as a security for a loan? The poor are pushed off the path. The needy must hide together. The poor must spend all their time looking for food. They harvest for the rich, and yet they go hungry. They lie naked in the cold without clothing to cover themselves. The poor must go about naked without any clothing." It says they harvest food for others while they themselves are starving. "And they groan of the dying rise from the city, and the wounded cry for help. Yet God ignores them," Job has said. Job is saying, "This is where I'm at. God is ignoring me." And he says, "But I'm not going to give up on him because I have complete faith in him." He says, "The wicked people must rebel against the light. They refuse to acknowledge its ways." He's talking about the idea that there are wicked people out there. There are flourishing that happens in our lifetime. We look at people out there who are obviously very wicked people, and yet they seem to be flourishing. They seem to be rich. They seem to have all the happiness in the world. Of course, it's really not happiness, and they find out toward the end. So the murderer rises early at dawn to kill the poor and the needy. At night, he is a thief. The adulterer waits in the twilight, saying, "No one will see me then." He hides his face so no one will know him. Thieves break into houses at night and sleep in the daytime. They are not acquainted with the light. The black night is their morning, and they ally themselves with the terrors of darkness. This is the grave consumes the sinner, just as drought and heat consume the snow. Their own mothers will forget them. Maggots will find them sweet to eat, and no one will redeem them. Wicked people are broken like a tree in a storm. They cheat the woman who has no son to help her, and they refuse to help the needy widow. God in his power drags away the rich, and they have no assurance of life. Now, Job is sounding a little bitter here, and indeed I think he is. He's had his 3 friends that he's known that have been stood by him for apparently a long time. People are kind of gathering around. It sounds like this discussion's been going on for quite some time, and he is watching them. He is watching these friends, and the friends are having kind of an argument with him, and it doesn't sound like they are still being good friends, but they are trying to condemn him. And if you've ever been accused of doing something you didn't do, it's very demoralizing. And Job is taking this because, and I believe he's taking this well, because he has faith in God. He says, I'm not going to give up my faith in God. And though they are great now, the moment that they will be gone, like all the others, talking about the wrong. Anyone can claim otherwise who can prove me wrong. Job says, the wicked are going to be gone and they're not going to be. And I don't understand why God doesn't punish them. Well, God doesn't punish everybody right here and right now. God is here to, I always say he's growing us. It's kind of like we're just developing, and he's creating us to be prepared for the next life, This is a trial ground. This is a training ground. This teaches us when we learn. And Job is going through these lessons, even though God didn't do this to him, he just allowed it to happen. But Bildad now, he's the second speaker, and he's going to answer him, and he doesn't have much to say, because I'm sure Zophar, he's going to give up. He's not going to even speak a third round. He says, I give up. Now, either he is given up, or he says, maybe Job's onto something here. But Bildad says, God is powerful and dreadful. He enforces peace in the heavens. Bildad is saying God takes care of everything. He enforces peace. Who is able to count his heavenly army? Does light shine on all the earth? Doesn't light shine on all the earth? How can a mortal be innocent before God? He says, and these are the obvious things that we as mortal men, we think about. And we think about the world. We think about the creation. We think about our bodies. We just think about things. And God is able to create all of this. He is our great creator. And so Bildad is saying, who's able to count the heavenly army? His light shines on the earth. How can a mortal man be innocent before God? Can anyone born of a woman be pure? Come on, Job, you can't be pure because you're mortal. You can't be pure. So stop denying your guilt and accept your fate. And Job says, I'm never going to admit that I was wrong here. God is more glorious than the moon. He shines brighter than the stars. According to Bildad, his comparison, people are maggots and we mortals are mere worms. He doesn't have much to say for us. But Job is going to kind of respond for the last time to these people that are challenging him. And he says, how have you helped me? How have you helped the powerless? How have you saved the wicked? What wise advice have you offered? The underworld is naked to God's presence. God stretches the northern sky over empty space, and he hangs the earth on nothing. Again, we're talking about the power of God. And remember, in this time, they kind of thought maybe the earth was held up by creatures. They just didn't know. And so he says he's hanging on nothing. He created the horizon to separate the waters, and he has set the boundary between the day and the night. God has done everything that we can ask him and everything that we accept as normal, as common, as granted. But God did it, and we are not to really take it for granted, because it's all these things are a miracle. I listen to a radio program, and it says at times, he says you can look at life in 2 ways. Is everything is a miracle, or nothing is a miracle. Whatever it is, you get to make the choice, and you get to live that way. I think that's an interesting thought, Is the fact that we have a brain that functions, that takes care of our body, a miracle? Or is it just it's just matter of fact? I believe it's a miracle. It's a miracle of God. A miracle of God that the earth is here. It's a miracle of God that we are able to function and able to get by. And it's not just hubbub run of the mill. He says, so your God is all powerful. By the power, the sea grew calm. By his power, by his spirit made the heavens beautiful, and his power pierced the gliding serpent. These are just the beginnings of all the things he does, merely a whisper in his power. Who then can compare the thunder of his power? And Job is going to stop with that. He says, who can compare with the power of God? He says, I depend on him, and I am not going to turn my back on him. And I'm never, ever, as long as I draw a breath, going to say I did something wrong that God was punishing me for this. There's something going on. And we're going to find out about that later, because Job has got a lot to say about this. And after he has a speech he's going to continue with, but right now we're going to set with the fact that Job has endured his friends. It is over. That conversation is over. And I'm going to refer to you, and I came across this yesterday, I think, and he says, and it comes from Isaiah 43, chapter 2, and he says, and I think Job must have been reading this. When you go through deep waters, I'll be with you. When you go through the river of difficulty, you will not drown. And when you walk through the fire of oppression, you will not be burned up. The flames will not consume you. These are things that God has promised us that will take care of us. And Job is, even though he never heard these words, he's living them. And we need to practice living those kind of words. I think I have one more little verse here that I wanted to share with you along the same vein. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has given me victory. And I believe Job is going to walk away with that thought, and we can keep it in our mind that the Lord is for us. If the Lord is for us, who can be against us? The Lord has given me victory. Just be still. He'll fight for you. All those things come together, and it comes to say, have faith and believe in his presence, and we will survive. We will get by. We'll get through this, and we'll all spend eternity together. With that, I'm going to say thank you. Thank you for listening, and I hope we can talk together soon. God bless you.